Welcome to another vlog. It is June 22nd and I am officially home back in San Diego after traveling for the past couple of weeks. I celebrated my birthday back home in Miami. I'm currently 43 years old. And now that I am back from visiting family, I am ready to get back into a routine and to finish off the rest of my summer tasks. So the fall semester doesn't officially start until August 24th. However, a lot of semesterly things begin to happen beginning in early August. So what I have done is sort of kind of given myself up until August 1st to solely focus on the rest of my writing tasks that doesn't have to be around developing my syllabus and or putting things up on Canvas for students just yet. Or is it Canva? I can never remember Canva versus Canvas, but you know what I mean. So I am going to be spending the next 5-ish weeks, I would say 5-ish weeks, focusing on spending as much time as I possibly can on my task. And as you know, my tasks are always writing, reading, content creation, and Korean language learning. My next video on YouTube will be my Q2 update, so I won't bombard you with all of my stats about what I've been able to accomplish this summer yet. And if you haven't seen my Q1 video, I will go ahead and link it in the description box below. But just so you know what I am hoping to get done this week, I'll be working on my novel. I will give you an update about that in a second. I am also needing to start my tenure packet. I will be going up for tenure this September, which is crazy to think that I am starting my 6th year at SDSU. So for those of you who are not familiar with the tenure process, I was also mistaken back in grad school that I thought tenure was about being at the university for 10 years. However, that is not the correct spelling and that is not the correct understanding. But essentially, going up for tenure means I will be going up for promotion. And at SDSU, you go up for promotion for final permanent promotion in the beginning of your 6th year. So you must spend the first 5 years doing your teaching, getting your publications, and committing to service at not only the department level, the university level, but also within the service level of your field. So this summer, I will be beginning the prepping of my tenure file. So that is one of the things on my task list. I need to finish my novel reading. I am currently reading a novel. I will tell you what that novel is. I also have some research reading that I need to do that I had been putting off for almost all of the semester. I did get some research reading done, but of course, now during the summer, I need to pick up that pace. I am doing my content creation by recording this vlog, although I do need to start scripting out my Q2 videos. That is on my task. And then I have my Korean language learning, and I did add a few additional goals/challenges so that I can get a little bit more learning done during the summer since I don't get as much time to study Korean during the semester. And I will quickly tell you about that. And then I also need to figure out what I am posting on Instagram today. I do have 2 things I need to post, so that is one of my tasks for today. So to update you on my novel, which I should have said, I've already started completing my tasks earlier this morning. I just wasn't recording anything. So I actually already spent 75 minutes this morning working on my novel. And just to give you a little bit of an update, I have actually finished draft number 7. I finished it on June 19th, on Friday, which I was so excited about. So that draft, I was trying to cut at least 20,000 words. I ended up cutting just under 19,000 words for that 7th draft and had decided that I need to go into an 8th draft just to try to chop down between 2,000 to 2,500 more words. So as of this morning, I have officially begun draft 8, and I am trying to query this novel by August 1st. So that is also another deadline that I have. And my hope is to get this draft down to about 98,000 words and begin querying by August 1st. So I spent this morning rereading chapter 1. I'm going chapter by chapter. My minimum is to delete at least 50 words a chapter, and that will get me to my goal by the time I get to the 46th chapter, and my novel is 46 chapters. So what I've been doing, I've been listening to it via Word, and then I have a PDF copy on my tablet, and then I'm just striking out as many words as I possibly can. And some of the words that I replicate, even when I thought I was deleting essentially, 90% of the that's because they're generally unnecessary to use, I am finding a few more that I can delete. And then I often find myself writing again, like she turns to him again, or she lifts her head again. And so I'm getting rid of words like again. I'm also getting rid of simple things like she turns. Instead of saying she turns, I just say exactly what she does. And that has been helping me get rid of those additional words that aren't necessary, again, so that we can get this book queried this summer. So I'm happy to report that task is already off my things to do today. The other thing that I have is that I wanted to spend 60 minutes going over my tenure packet requirement. All of those requirements are listed on my college's or my university's website. I also have that I need to be reading the novel that I'm currently reading for 30 minutes. And that novel is The Free Verse Society. I bought this book in, I think, 2 vlogs ago, and I had started it, then closed it because I was trying to finish a different book before I had to return it to the library. Then I took this on vacation. I read a couple of pages, but I was too busy to be reading, and then got back, and then I read about 20 more pages. I am halfway through the novel. I'm currently on 144, so I should say that this book is by Delali Adjua. I highly recommend if you are invested in YA romance. It says hate to lovers, but with that trope, there's never any real hate. But it very much reminds me of A Walk to Remember, which is really sweet. And so it just was released in April, got it, and now I am reading it. My hope is to read a half hour today, or at least I have that on my schedule to read a half hour today. The other thing that I need to be reading is my book for research. So this is The Dark Fantastic by Ebony Elizabeth Thomas. A lot of people have already read this book. I am behind. So this book came out. When did this book come out? This book came out in 2019. I should have read it in 2019, but I am reading it now. It is Race and the Imagination from Harry Potter to the Hunger Games. Dr. Thomas is super huge in the field of children's literature. So I am going to work on that today, or at least read 30 minutes of that today. I also have that I need to spend 30 minutes drafting my Q2 work, but I also say that I need to be editing this vlog in real time because you know how vlogs are. And then I have 30 minutes of Korean. Today I will be reading a children's book in Korean. If you know some of my work, or at least some of the work I've been trying to do when I have visited Korea, happy to talk more about that, but I'll also link the playlist of my Korea research that I did last summer in the description box below. But I am doing some work on The Little Prince, and so I have this children's book version of The Little Prince or adaptation of The Little Prince. And so I am going to be spending my 30 minutes of reading Korean. I mean, look how beautiful these illustrations are. I'm going to be spending my 30 minutes of reading Korean this book. I'm actually going to spend all week reading the same book just to make sure that I have a good understanding, because it does take me some time to get through a book, even though it is a children's picture book. The other book that I told myself that I need to be reading, I actually got a copy of Addie's World, Welcome to Addie's World, 1846 from the library. This is due, I think, in the next week or so. And as you may or may not know, I do also do work on Addie Walker, and this book is actually really hard to find secondhand. So I got it from the library and I need to read it. And I also probably need to either photograph or scan some of these pages if I can get back to campus beforehand, and or I can see if I have another round of, what is that called, to check it out again, and then add that to my list of things to do this week if I don't get to it today. And then I have that I need to work out for 60 minutes. I do have that tonight as sort of kind of like my Zumba dance workout night. And then I've already completed 75 minutes of admin work. I do have probably another half hour of admin work to do, but we'll see how far I get with all of these tasks. And if not, I will start rolling some of my admin tasks onto tomorrow, since I have already completed 75 minutes of admin this morning. I've also already had breakfast. It is nearing noon, so I probably will stop for lunch around 1. So what I think I will do, because if I have an hour before I want to stop for lunch, I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and do the 2 rounds of reading. I'll read the Free Verse Society for 30 minutes, and then I will read the Dark Fantastic for the second 30 minutes, and then see how I'm feeling, if I need some nourishment, and then go eat lunch and or do another short task and take it from there. So let's get reading. It is after lunchtime and we are back to get our tasks done. Just a little recap, I did a half hour of reading of the Free Verse Society. And then when it comes to reading the Dark Fantastic, I read about the first 13 pages in the introduction, where Dr. Thomas is acknowledging her thoughts and the formulation of what she's considering the Dark Fantastic, which is around critical race theory, looking at Blackness and particularly Black girls in fantasy novels where the protagonist is white, and looking at the marginalized characters within the story, I guess, or perhaps maybe the supporting characters within the stories who are Black girls and or people of color. Now, what I realize I have not done is normally I post what I am reading. Now that I am halfway through the Free Verse Society, I realize I have not posted about it on Instagram, nor have I posted about the Dark Fantastic. But what I will do, so I can separate these two texts, I will post about the Free Verse Society today, and then tomorrow I will post about the Dark Fantastic. So I'm going to do that as a part of my tasks now to get that out of the way. And then I think what I'm going to do afterward is do my Korean study reading. And that way I will have done all of my reading during the afternoon, and then I can get to some more writing. So let's do that. Let's post about the Free Verse Society. Hello, it is Tuesday. It is currently 5:56 in the evening. I have not recorded anything all day, but I have done a lot of tasks. And before I go on my 1-hour walk, which is what I do on Tuesdays, I wanted to recap for you what I have accomplished thus far. There are a few tasks that I will need to do later on tonight. However, I did get quite a lot of things done this morning and this afternoon. So just want to give you a quick recap. I spent 90 minutes working on my novel. I revised up until chapter 7, which is feeling really good. I have deleted 412 words since chapter 1. So I am actually well past my 50-word deletion count. That is feeling very brilliant. I didn't get the chance to work on my tenure file, trying to think about what it means to go up for tenure yesterday. So I spent an hour doing that work this afternoon. I'm glad I only gave myself an hour because thinking about tenure was making my heart race the whole time, but I'm feeling good about it. I went through the website. I looked at what the materials are. I also sort of kind of breezed through my own materials that I have been submitting for my annual evaluation. And a dear colleague also sent me her materials earlier this year, so I read through them. So I'm feeling good, but I know that I'm just going to be anxious about this whole process over the next 9 months. It is what it is. I did spend a half hour reading Free Verse Society, and then I spent 75 minutes editing this vlog, and then I spent 30 minutes posting to LinkedIn. And I also, what else did I do? Oh, and then I spent 15 minutes doing some admin that I did not complete yesterday. I do probably have about another 15 minutes of admin, debating on whether I'm going to do that tonight or just add that to my tasks for tomorrow. So the thing we have left on the list is my walk, which I am just about to do. I do have 30 minutes of Korean on my list, and then I also need to read 30 minutes from The Dark Fantastic. By the time I get home, it'll be a little after 7. I can eat dinner, and then I feel like I can finish the rest of these tasks, and if not, I can always roll them over till tomorrow because I am on my summer research break. So that looks like that is my recap for now. So let's go on our evening walk. Welcome to Thursday. It is June 25th. I did not record anything yesterday, but I did get a lot done, and I will recap that for you because I have my computer right in front of me. But I also wanted to wish my protagonist a happy birthday today because today is her birthday. I think if my math is correct, she will be turning 19 today. Yes, I think she is turning 19 today. I have not done very much to celebrate her, although I did work on revising 2 of the chapters, and the chapters that I worked on this morning already was chapter 14 and chapter 15. So that is my gift to my protagonist as well as to myself. So yesterday I did get some writing done. I spent 105 minutes working on my young adult novel yesterday. I also went on my walk. I also read 30 minutes from the Free Verse Society, and I think that is it. Oh, and then I did do my half hour of studying Korean. Then this morning, I have already spent 2 hours working on my young adult novel. I have already read the Free Verse Society for 30 minutes. I ended up posting about the dark fantastic on Instagram and LinkedIn. So that took me 30 minutes. That was my social media content work for today. And then I still have on my docket that I need to spend 60 minutes studying Korean. I still need to go on my walk, and then I still need to read the dark fantastic for a half hour. The other thing that I have on my list, but I didn't allocate time for, was to spend time on my tenure packet. And I think I talked about that on Tuesday, how I spent an hour sort of kind of sorting through what I needed to do for that. I did end up emailing my chair to talk to him about my tenure packet. So he and I are going to be meeting in about 2 weeks. And what I do want to spend the next 2 weeks doing is putting together a draft so that he can look over it and give me his thoughts. So I do need to put some time in at least today and or spend maybe a block of time tomorrow putting together what I think would be a good draft list or draft outline of some of the things I do want him to be reading. So with that, the other thing that I noticed that I did not allocate time for, but that is also on my list, is to work on my Q2 video, which I think I also talked about on Tuesday. So I think what I'm going to do now, I feel like that's probably the easiest thing on my task list. I could also do my Korean, but that's an hour. It's currently 3:12. And I think if I give myself 30 minutes to work on my Q2 video, that will then allow me to start getting that off of my agenda list or my to-do list before moving into something that's going to take a little bit more headspace, like reading in Korean. Although today, the first half hour of my Korean language learning will be, I have to do 30 minutes of comprehensible input, and then I spend the next 30 minutes working on the little print. So let me stop yapping and let's spend the next 30 minutes working on my next video for YouTube. So I've gotten a good start to this Q2 situation. The thing is I still have 5 more days until the 30th. So I count essentially all the way up until the end of the month. And since I still have 5 more days, my numbers still aren't accurate. But because I did this last quarter, I ended up just copying and pasting my script from Q1 over into a different document, making it Q2. And now I'm just copying and pasting the numbers from my spreadsheet into this second document. So that way I have all of my numbers together. And then what I will do on July 1st, I will update these numbers with the tasks that I am doing this week. so that everything is calculated correctly, because I tend not to calculate everything correctly. But with the spreadsheets and seeing what I did last month, I feel like I am going to be able to do that just fine. But now I have my outline, and then on July 1st, I will update those numbers. And then probably on the 2nd or the 3rd, I will record my Q2 video. And so hopefully I will have that out for you come mid-July. So now that that task is done, I need to choose another task to do. I feel like I'm in the mood for Korean now. I should just get it done, because the later in the day it gets, the harder sometimes it is for me to have the mental energy. So let's do Korean, and I will see you later. It is Friday. We have officially made it to the end of the week. I still have a few more tasks to get done, but I wanted to recap for you all that I have accomplished this week so far. Regarding my novel, I have spent 14.5 hours revising. I have edited up until chapter 16, and I have deleted 593 words from those first 16 chapters. Hopefully, I will get at least another 600 words in the next 16 chapters. The manuscript is 46 chapters. So if I am able to do that for the rest of the manuscript, if I'm able to get 600 times 3, 1,800 words, then I will hit the count that I'm trying to get to, which is under 98,000 words for the total manuscript. I spent 90 minutes working on my materials for tenure. For next week, I'm going to create a better plan for what I'm going to be doing over the next 2 weeks, so that I will have something for my chair when we meet. I also looked at the website examples on our faculty advancement page, and so I felt like that was also helpful for me to know what I should prepare. I spent 2 hours reading the Free Verse Society. I'm currently midway through the novel. I also spent an hour reading The Dark Fantastic, and so I ended up finishing the introduction. And then I worked an hour on scripting stuff for social media, particularly my Q2 video, which will be my next video up on YouTube in July. And then I also spent 4.5 hours editing content for social media, particularly editing this vlog. And then I did post 3 times this week on Instagram and on LinkedIn. That's a win. And then I spent 3 hours studying Korean. So I read the picture book version that I have of The Little Prince. I also wrote in my journal, which is one of my assignments. I also did my speaking practice, and then I did my comprehensible input assignment as well. And then I had that I did an hour and 45 minutes completing admin work, essentially emails and some paperwork that I had to get done. And then I have also done my exercise for the week. I have worked out 4 times. I walked, I danced, and then tonight I have to do weights. So it'll be 5 for 5, which is great. And then so I think for the rest of the day, I want to spend a majority of the time editing this vlog so that I can get it up before the weekend is done. And then I'm also going to spend some time scripting my Q2 video so that I can record that for you next week. And then I am going to spend the rest of the weekend getting my writing done, as well as hopefully getting another chunk of reading done in the Free Verse Society and The Dark Fantastic. So that is the end of this vlog. Thank you so much for working with me this week. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video, which will be my Q2 video out at some point in July. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.